Hey, it's Miss Renee. And as you know, it's almost Mother's Day. And one thing I think that a lot of people skip over is stepmoms. Baby, stepmoms don't get no love, okay? Um, it just don't make no sense. I am a stepmother to two boys. I got married. My husband had two kids. Their mom passed away. Nobody asked me. Nobody said, hey, Renee. My husband stepped up. He wanted to be a father to his kids. Well, he always wanted to be a father to his kids. But since mom passed away, he like, oh, yeah, give me my kids. I'm going to raise my boys. Never asked me, hey, but he didn't have to. I'm his wife. I'm his helpmeet. So he, what's understood don't need to be said. Let's get this done. So, they never really wanted to stay with us. They wanted to stay with their grandmother. But the dad was like, no, y'all coming to live with me and your stepmom. And as their stepmom, I took a lot, especially after mom died, because you're not my mom. You have to deal with that. You're not my mom anyway, but you're not my mom after mom passed away. And it just made it, because they hung back, never really said much. They only dealt with me when they had to. They went in separate rooms. They went long periods of time without talking to me. And this is me never having done anything to them other than fix them food, pick them up from school, sit at the table with them every single day, making sure they did. I had one kid on this side, one kid on that side. They both in different, ages. So I'm teaching this kind of math to this student, this type of the math to this student, English, science projects, making sure their clothes was clean, making sure they knew how to tie their shoes, making sure, everything that a mother does. I wasn't really huggy, touchy, feely with them. And it's only because I knew that they didn't want that. They were very standoffish, and as they got older, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, it got worse. They just really just don't want nothing to do with me or their father. And I really think it's because of the grief that they were feeling. It's kind of like a survivor's remorse, except for they was wishing, like, if I had to choose, I wish my father was dead instead of my mother, which is horrible for him to live with and horrible for me to live with, because we trying to really just love on these kids and do what we can to, make we taking them on vacation. We doing all kinds of stuff. We buying them clothes. We really just spoiling these kids, but we did mean business when it came down to school, and that was the part that was always the problem. What do you do when you're the stepmom, loving, caring, doing everything you could do, never cursing, never misusing them, never hitting them, never abusing them, just really trying to do your part and do the best that you can to raise somebody else's children who don't want to be raised by you, though. And I'm not acting like I don't understand, because they want their mama, but she's not here. So the aggravation, the hatred, the "you're not my mother, I would rather have my mother," is so it's a very hard place to be in. Every once in a while I would get a Mother's Day card, and they went out of their way to call me stepmom. I never said to anyone when I was introducing them that they were my stepchildren. I always, from what other people knew, these were my sons. Um, and it's bittersweet, and that's why I'm making this video, is because I don't plan to hear from neither one of them this Sunday for Mother's Day. And it breaks your heart, because I really didn't have to do what I did. It's a lot of mothers out here that would have just, them ain't my kids. I don't care what happens, blah, blah, blah. I married you. I did not, want this responsibility, but I didn't do that. I didn't have that attitude. And even when they treated me horrible, I didn't even think kids could treat an adult. I didn't even think kids could bully an adult the way I was bullied. And all I tried to do was help and be there and stand in the gap and love on them and try to do my best to raise two kids that didn't want me, that didn't want me to be there. And at the end of the day, I was told that they don't like me. And the last one, when he left, he told me he doesn't feel any love towards me or his father. I was like, the devil is doing his job, y'all. I don't know. Some stepmothers have a great relationship with their kids, but that did not happen in my case. I don't hear many people talk about stepmothers for Mother's Day. We do just as much work, but it's never appreciated, especially by both sides of the family. So if you're a stepmom, I'm glad that you love those children out of the love that God gave you for other people. And no matter whether they reciprocated the love or not, you did what you were supposed to do, and you loved on those children because it was the right thing to do. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, including and especially the stepmoms. And don't forget about the grandmas. Happy Mother's Day. Miss Renee, out.